Strange New Worlds can answer one of William Shatner's biggest Star Trek movie mysteries. William Shatner's Captain James T. Kirk is one of the most iconic figures in science fiction, and despite having headlined numerous Star Trek stories across television and film, some aspects of his history remain mysterious even decades later. One such mystery stems from the film Star Trek V: The Final Frontier, a movie that remains controversial among fans and critics, but which also introduced an intriguing, underexplored piece of Kirk's backstory: his haunting experience at Yosemite's El Capitan, and his admission that he knows he will die alone. While the film never fully explains the origin or deeper meaning of this belief, Star Trek: Strange New Worlds has the perfect opportunity to dive into this emotional enigma and, in doing so, deepen both Kirk's character and the legacy of Shatner's portrayal. A personal mystery in a flawed film. Star Trek V may not be universally loved, but it does contain one of the most introspective moments in Kirk's long history. Sitting around a campfire with Spock and McCoy, Kirk reflects on the fact that he always knew he would die alone. When questioned by his friends, Kirk doesn't elaborate on where that idea came from, only insisting that it's simply something he's always known. Ironically, this line took on new significance when Star Trek Generations showed Kirk dying while accompanied by Captain Jean-Luc Picard, challenging the very belief that he had clung to. But the emotional resonance of that confession, Kirk's fear of isolation, his understanding of his own fate, and his inner sense of detachment has never been explained in canon. Where did that conviction come from? Was it a moment of trauma, a prophecy, a personal loss, or just the pessimism of a man who's seen too much? With Strange New Worlds now introducing a younger James T. Kirk, portrayed by Paul Wesley, the series is uniquely positioned to revisit this mystery in a way that's both respectful to Shatner's legacy and meaningful to modern audiences. The Strange New Worlds opportunity. Set in the decade before the original Star Trek, Strange New Worlds follows Captain Christopher Pike and the USS Enterprise crew during a formative era in Starfleet history. The inclusion of a young James T. Kirk, first seen in Season 1's alternate timeline and then folded into the prime timeline in Season 2, opens the door to character development that can retroactively inform Shatner's version of Kirk. Here's where the creative opportunity lies. Strange New Worlds doesn't have to rewrite Star Trek V. It can simply lay the emotional groundwork for it. By depicting events or relationships that shape Kirk's psyche, especially those involving loss, isolation, or responsibility, the show can organically plant the seed of his belief that he is destined to die alone. One potent direction could involve a Strange New Worlds episode where Kirk, perhaps as a lieutenant or first officer, faces a traumatic mission that ends in the death of someone close to him, maybe a sibling, a lover, or even a mentor like Captain Pike. If Kirk blames himself or feels that his leadership choices led to the loss, it could instill a lifelong fear of outliving those he cares about. That emotional scar would explain not only his deep sense of solitude, but also his later refusal to let others share in his burden, believing that facing danger alone is the only way to protect his crew. Tying in Spock and Pike. This also offers a beautiful chance to contrast Kirk's path with those of other key figures in Strange New Worlds, particularly Spock and Pike. While Pike wrestles with his own portal death and paralysis, and Spock struggles with dual identities, Kirk's arc could focus on self-imposed loneliness born of survivor's guilt. The idea of a trio, Pike, Spock, and Kirk, each carrying a different weight about their future, would add layers to their interactions and deepen the mythology of Star Trek as a whole. And given that Spock is present at Kirk's final death in Generations, a Strange New Worlds storyline where Kirk tries to keep Spock at emotional arm's length for fear of losing him would bring that full circle. Perhaps Spock doesn't fully understand Kirk's behavior in the 23rd century, but viewers would, and that would make every later moment between them feel even more poignant. A nod to Shatner without rewriting him.